All right. And then, Rad, is there anything that you want to share on screen or anything I can share on screen for you?
No, I think we're good. I think we'll just talk, and I'll go through everything. And if folks have questions, and I'm definitely accessible, and I can share some stuff out after, if folks are looking for some updates or some pictures of things that I do talk about, and stuff like that. So I'm Riyad Shah. I'm the executive director for Downtown Framingham Inc. We are a nonprofit located in the heart of downtown Framingham, and we do everything from business support to technical assistance, to promotions, to placemaking events, driving community culture and vibrancy to the downtown Framingham area. And how I got into this role is kind of a long story, so I'll try to keep it as short as possible here. But I'm a Framingham native. I went through Framingham Public Schools. I graduated. And from graduation, I went to Westfield State. And I had an idea in my head of what I thought I wanted to do. You know, everyone's asking me what I want to do coming out of high school. What are your goals? What are your aspirations? What are you thinking of doing? And I was a sports kid growing up, so I thought I was going into the sports med field. I just thought that's kind of what happened, and that's not really what happens. And I really soon found out that it wasn't getting me excited to go to class. I wasn't really putting my best foot forward. So I think I changed my major 4 or 5 times in my time at Westfield, and in that course, nothing again really jumped out at me. Really got me going, really got me excited. I feel like I was just kind of pushing papers and moving myself along through the years. Um, so going into my sophomore summer, I decided, I was going to take a step back and really just see, what was really, my trajectory and my pathway, because everyone's path is different than the person sitting next to them on the screen or in a classroom or driving down the road or walking and sitting in a coffee shop or anything like that. So I had to find out what my pathway was and what my aspirations were. And I got a job working as a lifeguard. I always was active, so I was like, "Oh, I'll be a lifeguard for a summer, figure it out, see." And it really jumped out at me. I dove right into it, no pun intended. I had 3 saves that summer, 2 adults, one young person, and it felt wholesome to me. It felt helping people was the right thing for me to do. And I found MassBay and I found early childhood that following fall semester, and met some great people there, some professors that I still am in contact with and reach out to, and started my early childhood trajectory at MassBay. And over my 2 years there, it really became a community. It really became some place I liked to go to every single day. I wanted to go to class and speak with my professors and find their office hours and interrupt their lunchtime, because it is that type of community and engagement at MassBay. And that's something that really truly helped me get through my think thought process of trying to figure out my career path, and really helped mold me into this professional that I am today. Um, and through that early childhood program, I was able to get direct internships out in the community. I was able to work with early intervention for through the Framingham Public Schools that was at the old King building on Water Street, when it was just a small classroom in the back. And I had no real true idea what I was walking into until Don Lavasser, gave me the insight that, Jane's full of energy. You're going to love her and you're going to love the kids, and just own that part of it. And I really did. And I just went into it with a ball of energy and open minded, and just enjoyed the students and what it was about. And I think 3 weeks later, I was trying to find paper mache to create a bumblebee to sing, bringing home my little baby bumblebee with early intervention students and their families on a Tuesday morning for class. And I think that really it was an aha moment for me, that the parents were so appreciative of the fact that I was able to connect with their students and get on ground level and speak with them, and speak in a different language, right? And so that's really it it made them feel like they were heard and seen and valued as people. And I thought, wow, this is really the pathway that I got, that I'm on now, and this is really where I'm going. And Mass Bay allowed me to do that for a full school year, through the Framingham Public Schools. So I was there from through the fall through the springtime, and it really just I knew I wanted to work with youth. I wanted to work in development. So from there, uh, I went to the Boys and Girls Club. I worked at the Boys and Girls Club as their team coordinator. And then I was, kind of using my skills that I learned at Mass Bay within youth development, but it wasn't really scaffolding, so to speak, right, in a classroom and in early childhood. So then I found a lead teacher class, at a private company, Bright Horizons, that has many locations. And really, then I saw the true efficacy of scaffolding and pedagogy, and really being able to connect with families and what that means for young students, even at an affluent community in Waltham. The true just like meaning of their child being able to match puzzle pieces to sight on word, and match the sight on word to a physical object, and then counting, and then being able to connect letters to numbers with a paint setup, right? And so I really saw that the full encompassing of what Mass Bay was teaching me, right? And what that degree really is for, right? It's not just to have a piece of paper, it's so that you can go out into the real world and put it to practice. And it might not be a case study, but that case study is very important to understand why you're reading it, so that I can go out in the field and think back, oh, that case study was like, yeah, it said I shouldn't do that because I said that in my report. So now I'm not doing that in practice, right? So it was able for me to create good habits, at work, right? And then build that success, pathway. From that pathway, leading into, the last, I'd say, 10 years, I left Bright Horizons and I went into the Framingham Public Schools, where I worked as a, classroom aide in a inclusion room. And then, um, really saw myself as a glue to the school, right? Like, not teaching a physical classroom, not being set to one specific, grade. So I was able to use these skills that I learned in Mass Bay in a very larger scale, right? I was able to scaffold and have social emotional learning, and understand that, like, their day, if students are late, if they're coming in because they're food insecure at home, if they're that then affects their learning ability, which then affects their mood, which then affects how the rest of the afternoon and their social interactions go. So it was bringing it all back to me, like, oh, aha, like, yes, wow, early education classes, and finding out those little key things are very true. They're meaningful in how you plan and work with young people and residents, as I lead into this later end of my now career. um, I held about 7 different roles in the school system, at my time there. Never was a specific classroom teacher. I knew I didn't want to teach a middle school public school class. I didn't want to be a math teacher. I didn't want to be a social studies teacher, but I wanted to work with youth. So I found the community resource development department, the after school program that was really focused on, after school enrichment of the whole student, and community engagement and civic engagement, which then it was like, wow, this is amazing. Right. So I was able to understand all of this stuff. And I guess let me backtrack for a quick second. As I was going to Mass Bay, I was working. Right. So let me like put that out there for front and center. Like, I totally understand, like, Junie, you said you're working and currently a student, like, totally understand and hear where you're coming from. My last year finals was coming around. I was driving to my final, took a right turn on Warren Ave, and my right axle of my car fell off of the car, and I went down into a ditch. And the first thing I thought of was, oh my gosh, how am I going to get in contact with my professor to make sure I'm gonna not going to be late for my final? Because that was the community that it felt right. Junior, you're laughing because you're like, oh, I can totally hear myself doing that as well, right? I'm like, oh my god, Professor Lavasser's gonna like, she's gonna like think I'm going losing my mind that I didn't show up for this final. Like, how do I call her now? Like, not even call insurance, call a tow truck. Like, I need to call my professor right away first before foremost and everything. As I'm like stopping traffic in the middle of the road, like people are beeping, but I'm like, MassBay directory, who do I call? Um, and that's like a real moment of joy, right? Because I was able to get in contact, and the professor was like, listen, this is real life. You know, whenever you get your car situated in the next 4 or 5 days, come back in, take this final. We'll be all set. I'm not going to release anything to anybody else so that it'll still be even across the board. And that's just like the true value of Mass Bay is that they're real people that are teaching real classes, real experiences that understand who you are and where you're trying to go. And I think that's not a missed narrative, but I think a narrative that needs to be celebrated a lot more for the community itself. Because I think if I was at a larger university, I wouldn't have been able to get in contact with that professor. They would have given me a zero on it. Then my GPA would have then faltered down, right? Which then would have affected me to then transfer into this next part of that story, right? But I did want to backtrack as I say, we're Mass Bay alum, right? We're working through this, right? And some of us may not be working, but it's still a struggle, right? It's still like every day you have to get to class. You have to find transportation to get there. You have to figure out how you're going to park because the Mass Bay parking lot campus at Framingham versus Wellesley isn't as big as some of the other ones. Whatever, I'm not going to be upset about it, but getting there early for class is helpful, right? So you are on time, but how do you then keep up with your studies and working and eating and having your family time and stuff? But those professors there, and Professor Hannigan, who's still a professor who I'm working with her class currently, our human dynamics class, in my current role with some students, um, just she put it very, very just like blunt. It's like, listen, we're all human, and like you have to take each day at a time, at one day at a time, and the paper's still going to be there, the rubric's still going to be there, right? But like, are you okay? Are you getting what you need to come to class every day, right? And then so I think back to those instances that I talked about, the student coming in that missed breakfast, that didn't have, the chance to wake up fully, get the blood going, feed their brain so that they can learn, so that they can have that social interaction. It's all these things encompassing of what Mass Bay provides for all of us, right? They have services center. They are inclusive, right? They do provide resources for students above and beyond a lot more universities do. So being able to celebrate those and let others know about that narrative is really amazing. And I'm so happy that I was invited back to speak upon it and my story. And as I kind of now fast forward back into that role of the school department and working for the out of school time, I saw myself getting into a more administrative role. And so I moved from the out of school time like coordinator support and into now a manager of out of school time. So I ended up I went from overseeing one program or two programs in the course of a school year in a summer program to managing 3 buildings or 4 buildings, 5 programs over the school year, and then 5 buildings, 6 programs over the summer. But in that time, I have to think about, well, geez, do I know how to manage all this money? Do I know how to manage 150 people or, over the course of 4 buildings? So I have to think like, man, well, I was able to work and go to Mass Bay. Well, maybe I can do that to go to another university. And because Mass Bay helped me so much, my GPA was great enough where it was strong to apply to another university. And going back to what Professor Lavasser said, what Professor Hannigan said, take one day at each time, one day at a time. So I apply to a lot of schools. I apply to a few different schools. I get accepted into Northeastern, right? But I'm not going to say, hey, I'm going to stop working. I'm going to stop what I'm doing. And I'm just going to go back and take 5 classes again to just get this done. No, I'm going back to school to understand what I'm doing. So, what was really nice at that point is that while I was working and I was going to school, I was able to ask the questions at work to my professor. So it was very beneficial. And I think as I reflect back on the time now, I didn't like I didn't really take the ownership of or the value in being able to work at the Boys and Girls Club and then go to MassBay in the morning the next day to talk about the issues and then just go back to the Boys and Girls Club and work and not understand the true value of that connection of being able to bring those real life experiential learning opportunities to the table to learn from professionals and experts. So I think that's a really another true value that MassBay provides is that a lot of us, if not I'd say 90% or upwards, are working individuals or individuals that are not full-time students in the regards of we're just doing this, right? So how do we get by this? How do we work together? You have to lean on those professors, lean on the career services people, lean on your alumni relations offices that can connect you to folks and resources in the city. I I was only able to understand and get energized and learn all this stuff because Mass Bay put me into that early childhood learning classroom, into that early intervention classroom, right? And then I was able to learn from professionals and experts around the area and how to build my habits and build my professional scope and landscape of where I want to be. And so going through Northeastern and working through it and still trying to figure out how do I write for a scholarship? How do I take these classes and get student aid and still become, eligible for financial aid and things like that? Talking to the advisors, right? Like Mass Bay allowed me to understand, like, hey, there are advisors to go talk to. There are professors that will show you how to do stuff. I just need to ask and not be afraid to ask because if somebody doesn't have the time or understanding, it's their job to go find to push us in the right direction because they work for the universities and for the colleges and so they're going to find the resource and if they don't know they're going to push you to the next person. And so, I really, again, I go back to this community feeling that Mass Bay creates for a student and an alum to come back and seek these resources, right? Because if it's not my organization, right? Because right now I currently do have 2 students from Mass Bay working with me. One is a paid internship, and one is an unpaid internship. And they go through Mass Hire and stuff like that. But they are coming to me because they have asked of web design or economic development or civic engagement. So they're coming to me specifically. Other folks, other business mentors, other selections, other career services, if you all ask your professors, advisors, or anything for an internship, and if it's not with me, I can still connect the dots. So what's really nice about my organization now that I work with at downtown Framingham is now I see myself as I've graduated from students that are under 18 to now just residents that are all encompassing of all ages and all inclusivities and all abilities, right? So I bring all of this scaffolding and holistic approach and education background to understand that it's a community. If I don't have what somebody needs, I'm going to do just as Mass Bay afforded to me, and I'm going to go to the next resource that I know has that ability to support these students or has the job opportunity for these new graduating young professionals coming out of college. Or it could be as simple as, hey, here's the calendar for the food delivery on every other Saturday from Daniel's Table or Greater Framingham Community Church or the Pearl Street Cupboard if you know folks that are who are food insecure. Or, hey, here's this resource for the small business entrepreneur. I don't do entrepreneur, I don't do specifically the strategic plan, sitting down, everything, because that's just a lot of time to do it. But I have found the resources in the first 4 months of working here is, hey, now you can go to this resource center at the library. Now you can go to the innovation center over here. You can go to Smock Financial Services. Here is the credit union that provides. So now I'm taking in all of this information in this role at a larger overbearing like manager high level executive role and digesting all of that information from everybody. So at this role, I look at it as I have to be a really good listener. And as you build your professional landscape yourself, being a really good listener is a really good attribute to have as a leader. Because once you hear people and can digest and understand, then you can really put the pieces into place to make things happen. And so I'll give a an example of of 2 weeks ago we had a downtown business that had a young person that was having some mental instability issues going on, and they were causing a disturbance um, in their place of business. However, the owners realized that this person was in need. They were in need of services. They weren't there just causing a disruption. So they called me and they're like, "Well, we don't know what to do. How do we do this?" So I go down there and show them how to do this, saying, "Hey, this is the number that you call. This is direct services, so that we can come down here. We're not using big blue flashing lights. We're coming here down nice and calm. We're going to meet the police department and the clinicians outside, and we're going to talk to them, and they're going to tell you the 3 or 4 options for this individual." And so now telling them and being there with those business owners, now I'm able to educate them on the necessary steps. So they say, "Hey, thank you so much for doing this and talking us through. Now we feel comfortable. If this happens again, we don't have to call you at 6:30 at night." And I said, "Listen, if you feel like you really need to, call me." As they did, they called me 5 times because I was in the middle of something. I was at the gym and I saw it and I was like, "Oh my gosh, I have to call them back at 5 times." So I said, if it's that big of an issue, please call me. I am accessible. I live in Framingham. Downtown it is very close to my heart. Framingham is close to my heart. Um, so I want them to feel like they're being heard, like they're being supported, just as we are being all of us were supported at MassBay, right? It just becomes a larger community. And I think as we build and build and build that community of support, you get a larger um, pool of supporters to connect the dots for you, right? And so I think that's exactly what the alumni relations office is trying to do here is bringing back folks to connect the dots to people like Sabrina, to people like Junie, to people like Henry, to people like to Mishan, who who can say, "Hey, you know what? Riyadh said one thing about this. Can you follow up with him? Can I follow up with them?" And please feel free, Cindy says, share my contact information. I am an open book. I am accessible to all Framingham residents. Um, it's not just to the downtown area, even that like I do focus my business support and vibrancy and placemaking events and stuff like that. But again, like I'm part of the Mass Bay community. So if you have a question, please feel free to call me, reach out. I want to be accessible because that's how Mass Bay showed me. So I want to be able to bring that back full circle to everyone else because it really has afforded me into a successful professional career. So I want to be able to just pay that back full circle. And I think I'm just going to stop there for a moment because I feel like I just talked for a very long time. And I'm going to kind of leave it open to just like kind of questions, a back and forth dialogue. What did anything that I said stand out? Follow up questions on anything.
I just want to say thank you first off for making the time and being able to talk with everybody, and it means a lot. And because you are, you're a local, and we have a campus in Framingham. The new building's going to be opening, by the end of, it's opening in January, right? So it's quickly approaching. Not sure if the parking is going to get any better, but I haven't checked out that lot yet. But Julie Guinness had such amazing things to say about you, and I've never heard her say anything that's been incorrect. And if anything, she'd sell, not that she sells people short, but it just like she says all these amazing things, and I'm like, they can't be that amazing. And then I'm like, everybody she says is amazing is amazing. So I really just appreciate what you're doing for the community. You wanting, and being vocal about being a MassBay alumni is huge, because as we all know, like, a lot of people kind of have that stigma towards community college. And it's great to have an active community member being like, hey, I went to MassBay. It's like up the street. So it really means a lot to us. And I really appreciate you coming and speaking with us. And I'm going to out Juniani here, but she also worked at the Boys and Girls Club in Framingham. So
Okay.
um,
I worked there when they were still at the Pearl Street location under the library.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think I've definitely seen you come in, say hi to Tammy before, but I don't think we've ever been introduced. But yeah, I worked there from I think 2016, 2020, I believe.
Okay, so we missed each other by like 8 months because
Right.
I started at the school in 2015, I believe it was, right around there, that end of the school year. Um, where was I going to say? Where was I going to go? You just said something, Sydney, and then Junie said something, and then I just literally just lost my train of thought. Um, Mass Bay, Julie. Yeah, I think it's really just been such a great ride, and I just want people. Oh, this is what I know. So Sydney, when she reached out to me, she's like, "Oh, well, I'm not really sure, but like, not a lot of people put Mass Bay on their LinkedIn or their resume or anything like." I'm like, "Go check my LinkedIn right now."
yeah, you were like, not me."
So it is something I'm very proud of. It's something that I don't shy away from. I don't hide. I don't leave it off of professional documents, because it's who we are, right? It's built us to who we are. So why am I gonna leave that off the table, right? And it's almost like I'm saying, I'm putting my family to the back seat, and that's not okay, right? I wouldn't do that to any of my immediate family members. I don't think anyone on here would, right? So the family and community that has supported me at Mass Bay, right? I'm gonna say it loud and proud, right? And when people ask, it's yeah, I went there, and I'm proud of it, right? Because it did allow me to become this person, right? You don't think of me any differently now that you know that I went to Mass Bay, right? I'm still this person in this role, whether you knew I went to Mass Bay or didn't go to Mass Bay, right? So it shouldn't be something that we should leave off, right? Don't be something that we don't talk about. It is a strong education. It's a strong community, and it's something that, talk it up. Let people know that it's something to go to and be proud of.
So I have a question. So is there something that you want to do to something new that you want to bring to the community that's not there right now?
Ooh, where do you have enough time, Marianne? I'm not sure we have enough time for that. Um, I think at a minimum, I want to bring a more diverse event placemaking lineup. And I don't say that to say that there is not already a diverse market of events going on downtown right now. Let me first off say that Amazing Things Art Center provides plenty of live performances. Out Metro West has plenty of activities going on. Tropical Cafe has live music. Sam Sushi has live music. There's plenty of comedy shows going on. There's art performances. The Danforth Museum, which before it moved was doing stuff. The library. So there is a lot of stuff. What I mean is more community involvement from a larger scale of businesses and residents. And it's not just one organization putting on an event. It's not just, hey, MassBay is putting on this career fair, right? Or this circus event, right? It's, hey, come to this marathon fest that we are putting on for the community. So I'm putting on, so I've partnered with Downtown Framing, make this to me, partnered with Jack's Abbey to
Yeah.
host a marathon fest at their parking lot. Right? It is not DFI's event. It is not Jack's Abbey event. It is Marathon Fest. And what we're driving is family friendly community fun. The alcohol will stay inside because they will be open for business, and that's okay. People can drink alcohol in a designated area, but outside is going to be family friendly event. We're going to have some music, we'll have some vendors, we'll have some soccer organizations, we're going to have an art activity. MassBay alum will be there spotlighting us out, passing out information. And so I want to bring, I don't know if anyone goes to Milford often, but there is something called the Portuguese Festival in Milford every year.
Mhm.
And why are we driving, myself included, why are we driving to Milford every single year to go to the Portuguese Festival? Because it's amazing. Because they get the entire community involved. So that's something that I want to bring to Framingham, right? Maybe not the Portuguese Festival. We'll leave the Portuguese Festival to Milford because that's their thing. They got it first. I don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Right. But like, how do we bring a multicultural festival? How do we bring, you know, Hispanic heritage, but the Sao Paulo, Brazil, Brazil heritage versus Portugal, right? Because I do know it's two different. It is two different
Right.
things. And my go ahead, Junie.
Actually, we do have a festival.
Okay, you do have Fiesta de Junia, which, but again, it is only at Brace. How do I get more of downtown included, right? So how do I support Brace, which is on 135 at St. Tarcisius, right? How do I support Brace in their efforts, right? So they already have this large festival that's like thousands of people, and you can't get down there, and it's traffic jammed and the streets blocked off, and it's insane. And if you get down there, throw your name into the raffle because they raffle off a car every year. And so how do I get more of the Brazilian Portuguese businesses to get involved into that, right? I asked some of these business owners, hey, do you know Fiesta de Junia, right? Have you ever been to it? And they're like, huh? What? I'm like, how do you not, this triangle isn't making sense, right? It's, to me, it's not making sense, right? And again, I've only been in this role for about 100-ish days. I am learning a lot, but again, I've worked in the city for a very long time. I went to MassBay, so I understand the landscape. I am a Framingham native. So it has afforded me, right, easier transition into this role than it would of somebody outside coming in. But I think that goes to speak to folks like all of us on this call that went to MassBay, who want to build a community around, who are working at MassBay because it was a great community. We want to work there, and we want to come back and support everything that it has to, that it stands for, right? And so, did I luckily enough get jobs within the city? But I looked within the city, right? I wasn't looking in Boston. I wasn't looking in New York. I wasn't looking in Walton, right? Now that I've understood my professional landscape, right? Like I want to make my mark in Framingham. I want to leave, my stamp of approval to what I can do for the community in Framingham because it lent itself so well to me.
A little tidbit about the Portuguese picnic. Um, there have been rumors going on for years that people are like petitioning to not have Portuguese picnic in Milford anymore, just because of like how large the event has become. So I might keep an ear on the ground because if Milford doesn't have Portuguese picnic, I guarantee people will be upset. In Framingham might be able to be like, "Hey guys, Portuguese
I will
speaker."
jump on that
Yeah.
so fast, like a horse getting out of town. And to bring back, to answer that to your question fully, Mariana, is Restaurant Week, doing a downtown taste of downtown, artisan markets, bringing back that, um, bringing back like dynamic stuff. So it's not just, hey, just come down for the farmers market, because it's the farmers market's not for everybody. But
Mhm.
there's if there's fashion out there, if there's a farmer's market, if there's an art activity, right? Then it becomes an event that people can go to. And it's like, hey, First Fridays, come down to downtown Framingham. Or, like, hey, every third Saturday of the month, come down to downtown Framingham. I love the farmer's market on the Common Green, but it's at an odd time of the day during the week. Um, I can't even get there, to go even try kettle corn or something like that. But I see it posted all the time. But for the downtown businesses, for residents, for the for the blue collar worker, like they're getting out of work, they're not going to be able to get across town after school gets out, after they get home, to beat that traffic, to get over there to access it. So how do I bring stuff that I know is a hit that people like into this downtown area, which I know is going to be more accessible for the residents down here that may only have one vehicle, that may have no vehicle, that are transient, that do take the train, that are looking for something closer to home. Um, and then how do I support the businesses in and the, not my words, but other people that have called me, cleaning up the streets initiative? And my question to that, or my rhetoric back to them, would be, you know, well, you don't say let's never go to downtown Boston or Moody Street or the Portuguese Picnic or the beach, but there are food insecure, there are home insecure folks, there are people that are in need of mental health services in these areas. But the difference is that it's activated more than it is in downtown Framingham. So those folks are still out there and in need of services. So it's not cleaning up the streets, it's how are we going to get involved to provide services for those folks
Mhm.
so that they can access the resources. And by that, I then say you clean up the streets, right? If we want to put it in air quotations or something, is no, you're cleaning up systemic, terrible approaches to providing
Mhm.
supports for folks that need it the most. And so my big working part is bringing that human dynamics class from Professor Hannigan to SMOC to see their facility, because they want to get involved. So now we're writing a grant, a small earmark letter to ask businesses to say, hey, will you provide us X amount of dollars to help us buy some small personal hygiene products for this day center? Because now this day center is providing a real stable service. As long as you are not using or not under the influence, you can go in there for 2 days a week from 11 to 3. You can get your laundry done. You can have a nice hot cup of coffee. You can have a snack. You can watch TV, and you can take a shower.
Mm.
And there's services in there that they can help you get job training, find housing, fill out paperwork, right? And so that's the type of stuff that I want to help support, right? Because when that facility is open, there's not a lot of people on the streets, right? Because they're
Right.
accessing services,
Hmm.
right? When those services aren't open on days because they are low staffed, right? Like there are more people outside on the street.
Mhm.
And so also trying to paint the narrative of telling folks that they're not all home insecure. There is low mod housing in downtown Framingham. Big surprise in a big city, right? Um, and and I asked folks, I said, well, if you lived in a single unit house, apartment, and all your friends lived in a single unit apartment, and there's more than five of you, do you think that you could hang out in that single unit apartment? They said, no. I said, well, where do you think they're going to hang out? In a open space. Well, technically, Burkus Square is, well, not technically, Burkus Square is public property, so they can go outside and hang out, right? And so they are residents of the community. And now, I'm not saying that there aren't a few sprinkled in there that, that shouldn't be doing said things and are causing some issues, but it's not all of them, right? And so it's getting out there and activating the space, working with the police department. The police department has clinicians on staff that go to calls with their police officers and work with these individuals that are having issues. They don't just arrest them. They don't just throw them in and then let them back out the next day. They're working with SMOC. They're working with Spectrum. They're working with advocates because they do understand that this is a true need, right? So I work with the human dynamics class, and they know some of the folks at SMOC. They are tapped in the community too, right? So it's full circle now. It's like, oh well, Riyadh's able to help me help this organization that I already like, this organization that I'm already kind of a part of. Riyadh just bringing it to a different level. Okay, great. How do I then get other people excited about that? So that's what I guess in a nutshell, Marianne, I'm trying to do everything downtown as best as possible to my best ability. I got a lot of energy. I got a lot of know-how and how to maneuver systems, processes, who to talk to, what to talk to. I think also um, the public speaking courses at MassBay helped me get into large groups of people early so that I love a good microphone. I love a good crowd of 4,000 people. Um, Bye, Sabrina.
Bye, Sabrina. Thank you.
Um, I, I love it, right? And so
Yeah.
I don't mind being the mover and shaker of rooms or stepping into a room I probably had no business in the first place. But hey, somebody would tell me differently sometime, and if not, I'm still gonna go into the room. um, and I think that's how we get stuff done, right? In nonprofit work, that's how we get stuff done in the community. It's being uncomfortable it's being comfortable in uncomfortable situations, and the only way to do that is to put yourself in those uncomfortable situations time and time again, right? And
Absolutely.
as I go back to Professor Lavasser, she threw me in to the quote unquote wolves with Jane. If anyone knows Jane, she is a ball of fire and fun, and she literally throws you into the mix right away. Um, so I think that just like really paved the way to be like, listen, you can't have any qualms about anything and you can't have feelings about stuff from time to time. Like, yeah, go back and talk to your significant other, talk about it with your family. But while I'm at work, like, I'm just trying to get work done. And I'm just trying to look and find people that are like me, that are excited and motivated and want to help and want to be resources. And if not, can you find somebody that is? Can you point me in the right direction? So that's kind of me in a nutshell. That's what MassBay provided for me. Why I'm excited to come back and talk. Why I was excited to get back into the classroom and work with these students. One of those students are now working with me for the summer. So we've worked with Mass Hire. We've been able to get them into the program. So now they're going to be working with me for the next I think it's almost 4 months, 4 or 5 months until the end of August. They just started this week. They're super excited. We've already done a lot. I think they're a little bit overwhelmed, but I think that's part of it is be overwhelmed and then just digest, right? Just listen, take
Yep.
it all in.
That's perfect. Yeah.
I really
That sounds
appreciate everything
great.
you're
I see
doing.
great things happening.
I'm just going to say, future Framingham mayor,
Yeah.
you've got my vote, okay?
Yeah, right. Agree.
So,
Thank you. That was great.
Riyadh, I have to say thank you for telling your truth about your journey. And I think that this is really important that people understand that there's no one direct um, lane to your success. You might think that you know what you want to do, but it turns out, in fact, that You might really figure it out after 2, 3, 4, 5 different changes to make sense of it. I, I didn't go to MassBay, but I am a community college graduate. And I will tell you, I changed my major 3 times. And it was the best decision I ever did, because if you don't figure things out in college, when are you going to figure them out, right? It will be worse if you wait until later in life. So thank you so much for sharing that story, and that this is in fact probably the majority of students. They don't all have the
Mhm.
right decisions made out at 18, and that is perfectly okay. You will go on and you will find your, where you belong through your journey. So thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
I can't wait to see you at Jack's Abbey. I'm looking forward to it.
Come on down. Marathon Monday. We'll be there
We will be there.
from 10 to 2. We will be there.
Mhm.
I mean, runners will be down there. I'll be there earlier, but that's when the event is from 10 to 2. First of many great things to come. But I look forward to meeting you all in person in one way or another very soon.
Yep,
Yay.
Yeah, same here.
absolutely.
Thank you very much.
If you go to the marathon, there's going to be MassBay sunglasses. So,
And it does look like it's going to be sunny that day, which we were worried about. But
yeah.
now
Yeah.
we know it's going to be very likely warm and sunny, which is actually bad for the runners. But we'll be at Jack's Abbey, so
Yeah.
we'll be fine.
Yeah, right.
Bad for the runners, great for all the patrons and watchers and supporters.
Right.
Oh,
Thank you.
awesome. Does anybody have any last minute questions for Rayad? I'm gonna just kind of buzz through what we have on the agenda. There's really nothing else that needs like super anything to be explained, so I'm just gonna kind of go through so I hit all my points and keep everybody in the loop. But does anyone have any questions?
Yeah, just Riyadh, I just want to take a second to echo the sentiments. We couldn't be happier to have heard your story today. Um, a lot of yours, I don't say struggles, but the roads that you took to where it took you today, we all been there. Again, as a Mass Bay student alum myself, as someone that went back to college after I went into the workforce, like I know what it's like to have no idea of what it's like, what you want to do, and stuff. Sort of have to figure it out on the fly. And thankfully, I was able to find that out in the corporate world. But then there was an opportunity to join MassBay in the field that I ultimately decided to be a part of, and bring that same that experience into a culture that I know I could not just be a part of, because I could embrace it, but because I was a part of it. So thank you for everything you're doing for the community. Thank you for doing your. I'm sorry. Thank you for doing for everything you're doing for Mass Bay. And thank you for everything else. So I look forward to seeing you and hearing more about your successes.
Thank you, Henry. I look forward to meeting you too.
All right, I'm going to share my screen. If you guys can see how many tabs I currently have open, please do not say anything because it makes me anxious. I have way too many. Um, all right. So, next thing for upcoming events, I'll just buzz through the newsletter in a little bit. It's the alumni announcement is our end of the month monthly newsletter. But one event that I'm excited to tell you guys about is on April 20th from 6 to 8 p.m. We are going to have an alumni personal finance event. So we're going to have 3 speakers in the atrium here on the Wellesley campus. They're going to go over general personal finance practices, good savings techniques, like if you have like a side business outside of your regular job, the difference between an LLC and a nonprofit so you don't get dinged and all your money taken away from taxes, and things like that. So I'm excited for that event on the 20th. And then we are currently waiting for the PO to go through, but Red Sox. So we have Red Sox tickets for Saturday, September 23rd, 2023. It is also their Fenway Beer Fest. So we are working out the logistics of the best way to get the tickets to our alumni. But if you guys are hoping to go, put this date in your calendar. I'm really excited. We're playing the White Sox. So if anybody's from Chicago, like Michonne was, and she is gone. So she's going to talk some White Sox smack, but she's gone. So um,
What's the date again?
uh,
Sorry.
Saturday, September 23rd, and the game starts at 4:10 p.m.
I
I
was gonna
did.
say I could I could work that day if it came to it. Um,
That would be fun, Henry.
so and I could see what kind of swags I can drop off as an ambassador. So
Oh, that would be fun. Yeah, Henry's a Red Sox ambassador now, so we have another in.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Yay.
How has that been, Henry?
fantastic, but it's also very scary. I have to channel my inner uh I don't know, Teflon attitude that I try to portray myself as because it's very scary. They just throw you out there, single swim situation.
Oh
Uh,
gosh.
yeah, so like 1 second I'm like, assisting with production support for TV, or next I'm like helping out with marriage proposals, hoping that that goes right, for example, because I still can't have it go wrong, or something as simple as like giving out swags to like first timers, or like finding uh, our youngest attendants and just giving them like, hey, welcome to the ballpark, here's like some goodies and things of that nature. So it's very exciting, but it's also got me very, very scared at times, just because I want to make not just myself but my community proud. So,
Yeah.
but I love it. I love it. I'm excited for the opportunity of being there, and I look forward to being there for as long as I can.
Oh, that's awesome.
Cool.
All right, I'm gonna go over the newsletter really fast. Again, please do not mind all of my tabs. They make me nervous as well. So we
Well,
have,
while I have you real quick,
yeah,
so I was looking at the schedule, the sock schedule. So um, June 22nd, 20 sorry, 27th, 28th, or 29th. Those are the days that I can give a pair of tickets away. So just please be sure to follow up with me so I can place a request,
yeah.
and we can get that settled.
Awesome. So one thing that Henry and I have been working on a little bit is because he's a Red Sox ambassador, he's able to get tickets. So he's being very generous and donating a couple of tickets to alumni. So we're trying to figure out logistically if we want to give them away like out of a participant pool of some of people who come to the monthly meetings. So we're just trying to get that set on our end, and I'm excited. So fun
What a
things.
great idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Thank you, Henry.
Of course,
So
Thank
this
you, Henry.
was
of course.
our past month's alumni announcement. If someone did not get this in their email, please let me know because Razor's Edge is very, very fun. So this was like our little piece that we had on Rayad coming as our alumni spotlight speaker. This is a great photo. I love all the colors because these, blue and green, you can only have so much blue and green. So, um, so this is the career fair that is happening tomorrow on campus. The public is also invited. So this also just went out. And then this is the poster for the Marathon Fest that Riyadh was talking about. So we actually were able to email all faculty and staff on campus, Riyadh, about the event, letting them know that it's happening. So we've gotten a good amount of responses, just kind of gauge on our end how many people are coming because someone's bringing like breakfast food or something. So we'll see how that goes, but we're excited. So this is great, and we're really excited. Liz Cooper, a great win on our end is Liz Cooper was able to raise over $10,000 already for the General Scholarship Fund for being our runner for the marathon. So we're super proud of Liz. If you guys have ever met her, she just does not stop. So she's been doing her long run. So I think she did a 22-mile run over the weekend. So she only has like 5 more miles past that. Yeah, Rayad.
You're bringing food for, like, your folks at the table, right? You're not
Yes.
bringing food to, like, pass out
Mm-mm.
to, like, people walking by.
No, no, yeah,
Okay.
it's just yeah. Karen Britton like wants to bring a couple of breakfast foods and like granola bars or something for just
No,
people.
that's fine. I just wanted to make sure because then we would just have to get a health permit and
Yeah,
everything like that. So, see, I'm still in work mode always.
yeah. Gears are turning. And then, so this is that personal finance event that I mentioned a little bit ago. So this was just our announcement flyer for it, but now we have headshots and bios for our three speakers who are coming. So I should have an official flyer done for that by the end of the week, and then we'll really start our second wave of marketing for that to let people know that that's coming up. This is just a little bit on making sure people keep their info updated. And then this is something fun too. If anybody is in this field, the Institute for Trauma, Adversity, and Resilience in Higher Education, MassBay is hosting this national conference. So there are going to be speakers and attendees from all over the country coming to the virtual event. So there are even CME credits available for people in those fields who are continuing their education towards, their own doctorates and masters and things like that. So this is something that's going to be really fun. And I talked with Jeannie, and she said that the alumni are adults. They can do the free ticket or they can pay for their ticket. So it's really up to the alumni. And then alumni volunteerism. So I have a couple of things to pitch a little like after we're done going through the newsletter or the alumni announcement. But I made a nice little poster, so I'm excited about making posters again. Uh, And then here, this is just a little thank you. We had our How to Network at a networking event beginning of March, which seems like it was so far away ago, but it was less than a month ago. And we had a great turnout. We met in person here on campus. James Fuedo, who's living in Framingham, he taught courses over at Keefe Tech. He is a fantastic personality, and I really hope to have him back on campus again to do another event similar to this, maybe some speed networking. That's something that he pitched that sounds really interesting. So we are rolling, and I am just really excited to keep the events coming here on campus and get more and more people engaged. So our volunteer opportunities. Open house is Saturday, April 29th. We already have one volunteer for that. We really don't need too many. I just wanted to make it as an option in case people were interested. And then also we have the summer semester scholarship application review season coming up in a month, so May 1st through 8th. If anyone is interested in reading our student scholarship applications, it's a completely remote process. You do it on your own time. We just ask that you complete the 25 or so. Mariana, are you volunteering?
Yes,
You're already
yes.
on my list. You're permanently on my list. But they're really great because the students they pour their hearts out into these applications. Like we have so many scholarships for students in need and that aren't just academically rewarded. You know what I mean? So we have scholarships for food insecurity and for so many different attributes in students' lives, and the reading the scholarship applications is just it pulls on your heartstrings and really makes everyone realize how important access to education is is to everybody, and how it's a really great process. I'm going to cry if I keep talking about it. um, Commencement is May 25th. It's an evening commencement. It starts at 6 p.m. But commencement is May 25th, so if anyone wants to hang out at the alumni table and help me pass out cookies and gifts and things like that, Mariana, I saw your email. I'm super excited. But yeah,
It's gonna
so
be
commencement,
fun.
yeah, it'll be great. I'm like super excited. But
My
commencement,
husband actually, I'm gonna tell him when it is because last year he did it because I couldn't do it.
oh
So,
wow.
yeah. So,
Awesome. Yeah, the more the merrier, honestly, with commencement, because there's always going to be so many students there, and there's always so many people, and they're going to bring their guests, and the family's always so excited. So, I haven't been to a commencement outside of my own commencement, and so many people showed up, even though it was like thundering and lightning, and Bridgewater State had us in a tent outside. So. And then this is something that might come up. I just have it on here just in case. But packing alumni gift boxes. We are still working out the final details of what we're going to be ordering to send our new alumni as gifts from MassBay. So we may, and again, we probably won't, but we may need help packaging those boxes just to then be shipped out. And then really that's it. Our next alumni meeting is Wednesday, May 3rd, which is the first Wednesday of May at 6 p.m. We are going to have the 3 mentor managers who are on campus at this meeting to kind of give a little pitch of like what their programs each bring. Sabrina, who was here earlier, is also going to be there. She is the mentor manager for all fields except STEM and business. And then we're also going to have the mentor managers for STEM and the mentor managers for business. So it'll be fun. And then that's basically it. If anybody has any open forum questions, comments, things that they want to just like talk about, we are all ears. But I appreciate everybody coming and being here. And, you know, I do. I just appreciate it.
Thank you for doing a great job.
Thanks, Mariana.
No, it's great. I think the MassBay networking mixer is great. I would raise it a bar and say maybe we get out into the community if you wanted to do that. Because then we can work with some of the local businesses to connect. The reason why I say that is I'm thinking connecting the students back to the community so that some of these folks, business owners, community members, they might know somebody and be like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" We're like, "Oh, we're here for a MassBay event." I'm like, "Oh, wait, you went to? How did you get? Wait, I can access college too, right?" Like, so it could just be like an aha moment for somebody to be like, "Wait, wait, I know Junie. Wait, what? How? Wait, what are you doing here? What are you doing in this like closed off cool section that I'm not a part of right now because like I'm not a Buccaneer? Wait, what? What does that mean, right? Like, it's how do you make this like almost FOMO type of environment where
Mhm.
it gets people excited, where they just want to ask a question, where you just want to, I just want somebody to ask me a question, to stop me on the street, and then I'm walking with them whichever direction they got. The moment they make eye contact with me, they're done for because I'm already talking about their whole day, asking them what their dog's name is, what kind of car they drive, where do they drive from, where do they park, if they knew the parking sign. So I think it's getting out there so people can know what's going on. And I think especially with the new building, is we want to get you, we want to get
Yeah.
out, we want to get out into
Mhm.
the community. We want to get people then to come over to the building to say, hey, you know what? Go meet Sydney. Go meet Mariana over there for a tour. Go meet, you
Yeah,
know what? Let's all go for a tour. Let's do a downtown Freemium Inc. Sponsored tour and then meet
yeah.
at a bakery after, right? And
Yeah.
because you got right, so I'd love to kind of workshop some of those stuff, some of that ideas of, and it can be at the building, but I think maybe it's quarterly. You do a networking thing at a business downtown,
Yeah.
That's
or
a great idea.
Absolutely. That's
Yeah,
fantastic.
that's a great idea. We did do a networking once at Jack Abbey's. Maybe what, 2, 3 years before the COVID hit. We had done something like that, and we actually had a really good turnout. We had like 40 people at the event, so that might be something that we could consider.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm hoping to I was like gonna start looking into restaurants in the area that do fundraising opportunities, but I honestly think like even if we have like Fudo come back and to do a speed networking event, but we have like an event at a restaurant in downtown Framingham and like invite business owners if they're able to attend and like practice that speed networking with everybody while out also actually networking, I think that would be a great idea. So I will be emailing you. I always say in these meetings that I always have like a list of things that I need to do like right away after, but it's great because I'm just like, yes, there's things, there's substance, there's things that we can plan, there's things that we can do. We're never going to run out of ideas. So, I'm just so appreciative of everybody, wanting to participate and wanting to be involved and excited to be involved. So I really appreciate it, guys.
There are
Thank
businesses
you.
downtown that do want to be involved, that do want to do fundraisers. Like I'm thinking off the top of my head, there's a restaurant that would, if you wanted to do it tomorrow, they would do it tomorrow. They would
Mm,
do a roundup fundraiser. So you know when you go to like the grocery store and like, hey, do you want to round up to the next dollar, or do you want to donate 5 or 10 or whatever? Um, they would love to do that for organizations, communities, universities, colleges, programs, whatever the case is.
oh, awesome.
So definitely let me know.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'll get a date
I'll
going.
also add for Boys and Girls Club, this is just because we're connected on that level, but I actually had to, because I did an internship at the Marlboro Clubhouse, so I had to go around to every single business in downtown in downtown Framingham to ask if they wanted to support a fundraiser for the Boys and Girls Club. So, but also like just the Brazilian community, I'm pretty well connected. So if you ever want to ask me anything or reach out, I'm happy to help.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds
Thank
like we
you.
might need to meet for coffee to brainstorm a little bit. That's what I'm hearing.
If we want to have a coffee meeting, I am down for a coffee meeting. Me and Giuliani for her birthday ordered so much food on Grubhub to the office for her birthday.
I
So
need to learn more about this Brazilian picnic. I feel like I'm just hearing about a party that's been happening for years, and I
the
just
Portuguese picnic is
Oh,
in
Henry,
is
I'm gonna
infamous. It's
I'm
so
gonna
excited.
incredible.
say I'm gonna say you sadly have been missing out on a very good time.
I used to, so I don't go to the church anymore, but I used to volunteer like all throughout high school, and it's a lot of people. Like it's so many people. I don't even know the exact amount, but it's
It
packed always. And it's really
doubles the
fun. There's a
population
lot
of
of
Milford. I worked in Milford for 10 years, and we would have to shift when our shifts were to make sure that people would be able to get to work and home from work on time because of how all encompassing the Portuguese picnic is to Milford. You see
oh
those
wow.
Really?
vinyl
Wow,
signs
that's cool.
pop up and you're like, "Oh, Portuguese picnic time. Get ready. Got to mark it on the calendar."
Yeah, the Brazilian one is super. It's like more Framingham though. I don't know. I haven't been to the Portuguese one, so I definitely will check it out.
Cool. All right. Well, we are at 7:15. I appreciate you guys giving me 15 more minutes of your night. I will talk to all of you soon. And again, I just really appreciate it. I appreciate you guys being here. So
Thank you.
have a
Thank
Thank
great
you,
you.
rest
Cindy.
of your
Thank you,
night.
everybody. Have a great night.
Have a good
Thanks,
night.
All right, bye
everybody.
everyone.
Bye
Bye.
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 Bye.